タイトで読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているで読み直してで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているエキスしたい人で読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているで読み直している
Hello? Good morning? Yeah, baby, we're live. Sorry, I had to take care of some errands. And so I never know if the camera's working or not, but we're live. And we're ready to rock. What's up? July 26th, 9:17 a.m. 2021. Super smoky outside. Feels good. Just got back from the gym. It feels like I was running through forest fire the whole time. It's really bad out there. Is the only way to fix forest or not forest smoke, but just smoke in the air from the forest fires with one extinguishing fires and then storms, rainstorms. I feel like that's the only way Mother Nature pushes out all of the gross crap. It's been pretty smoky. Good morning, shy gamer girl with the wrench. Is that a wrench in your hand in the chat? If you don't know already, we do this. I do this live every morning, Monday morning at 9 a.m. So you can. And Hey Boo Moon also has 2 wrenches. I do this live at 9 a.m. every morning, every Monday morning. So if you want to come participate and listen to everything live, I do. I stream it to Facebook on my podcast page. I stream it to YouTube at Caden Kelly. I stream it to Twitch at Alpha Seltzer. That's my gamer name. I stream it to Streamlabs, OBS. I stream it to Buzzsprout. My clock says 9:18, Brax, and so does my iPhone. But I mean, I try to get it started right at 9. I make mistakes. I didn't sleep in. I was at the gym this when I was at the gym this morning. I was moving really fucking slow. My I went running yesterday up a mountain and I pulled my calf and it feels better today. I can walk around without really noticing it or I'm not running or doing any cardio like that, but I'm still walking really slow. And then I was lifting and I was I was not as strong today as I was last week. I keep track of all of my workouts. I do I have a routine that I follow, and I record the sets and the weights and the reps. And yeah, this usually I'm getting stronger, but today I was feeling pretty lethargic. Not even lethargic, like I feel awake and alive. I feel alive today, but I don't know, my strength wasn't there. I wonder why. I wonder why that is. I'm not a scientist. Still not a doctor or a scientist. I don't understand how it works. But that's why we do this, because I read books about it, about how it works. I put some icy hot on it on my calf. That feels good. I had tendonitis in my ankle last November, and that killed so bad. I had just started a job in Lehigh cleaning storage units, and it was 10 hours a day of walking around storage units. And the day one, I started getting this pain in my foot. I got up the next morning to go run on the treadmill, and it was burning, and I was an idiot because I ran through it. I was just being a pussy, but it got way worse. And then I couldn't walk on my foot. It hurt so bad. And then after 2 or 3 days, I ordered a boot off of Amazon, and I wrapped it in bandage, whatever. I was doing the rest. I wasn't really resting. I was working all day, but I was icing it. I was elevating it. I had the tape for compression. It always hurt, and then it was a miracle. One night, I put icy hot on it. I went to bed. I woke up. It was gone. The pain, the tendonitis, 100% gone. Like it was like it never even happened. It was the most bizarre thing. And I haven't had a problem with it since. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what the hell happened, but I'm stoked about. Yeah, I don't have tendonitis, so I put some tendonitis in my calf. I hope that's gonna help. Okay, I don't want to take too much time riffing, but I do anyway because it's fun and it's funny. I read The Irresistible by Adam. It's Alter. I don't know why I couldn't get his name right last week. It's Adam Alter. Irresistible. The Rise of Addictive Technology and the Business of Keeping Us Hooked. Very good book. Very interesting book. He is well, I'll read his little biography. Let me show you. I just got the book, so I haven't looked through it at all. Adam Alter is an associate professor of marketing at New York University's Stern School of Business. He is the author of the New York Times bestseller Drunk Tank Pink and Other Unexpected Forces That Shape How We Think, Feel, and Behave, and has written for the New York Times, New Yorker, Atlantic, Wired, Slate, Washington Post, and Popular Science, among other publications. And he's Australian. No, he's South African. He was born in South Africa, grew up in Australia, and then moved to the United States as an adult. So, and he narrated I listened to it. I listened to the audiobook, and he narrated it. And you get his sweet, sensational South African Australian accent. It's really good. So, I took a lot of notes while I was reading this book. I took a ton of fucking notes. This is the second time I've gone through this book, and it really was, okay. Irresistible. He talks about behavioral addictions to technology, how they associate with substance abuse and substance addictions, and lays out kind of I don't know. Okay. Let me just go through my fucking notes. I don't want to explain the book. I want you to read the book. That's kind of the point. If you're interested in what social media has done to us and what our cell phones, our TVs, how they influence our behavior and are causing addictions, then go read the book. It's a really good book. But here, I'm going to go through these points that I wrote down. Okay. Early on in the book, he gives us a sample of an internet addiction test. So I'll do this. He gave us a sample of 5 questions from some popular internet addiction test. That's an actual test that's available on the internet. He gave us a sample of 5 questions. I think it's 25 questions. I'll do it now, and then I'll go through some of these points, and then I will come back and maybe do it again at the end. So the internet addiction test is a test where you rate if the question is applicable from 0 to 5. 0 meaning not applicable at all, and 5 meaning it's always applicable. The first question is, how often do you find you stay online longer than you intended? Yesterday, I played video games yesterday all day long. Yesterday was like a 4 or a 5 for video games for me. I don't play a lot of video games during the week, and I know I make a conscious decision not to, because I know when I play all day long. And I hate it. I don't like that about myself. So yesterday, I stayed online on my computer playing video games far longer than I intended. Number 2, how often do others in your life complain about the amount of time you spend online? Well, no one said anything to me directly, but I felt like direct guilt associated with it. My girlfriend worked a night shift, so she slept until early afternoon, and then she had homework because she's in school, so I kind of justified my time online, and she never said anything or made me feel guilty. But when the time came where I had no choice but to get off from playing video games, I felt really bad. So she didn't complain. I was complaining for her. Number 3, how often do you check your email, I'll say, or text messages before something else you need to do? Yeah. Check my email. For some reason, my phone notification, my email notification, I've tried to activate that, but I've never been able to activate it. I only get notifications from my email when I'm home under my Wi-Fi. I don't understand it. I check text almost immediately when they come through. So, yeah, text. If you're talking about text, probably 4 or 5. Emails, never. How often do you lose? Number 4. How often do you lose sleep because of late night logins? I don't lose any sleep anymore, fortunately. I used to stay up all night playing video games with my friends. Well, I still have. I did a couple weeks ago or a week ago or so. I stayed up really late, but I don't often. Not often anymore. I used to all the time. Maybe even like a year ago, I was probably playing 2, 3, 4 times a week during the week for work weeks, playing games sometimes till midnight, sometimes till 2, but almost always until 10. So, okay, and oh, hey, B Moon, I probably get 120 emails a day. I have to check them for work. Yeah, I think I wonder what the difference. I don't think it's the same thing. I think for work is different because that's work. I get emails for clothes that like things I subscribe to. I think maybe that's more of the direction that he means for checking your emails or checking texts. I do get a lot of texts for work. So that's why I'm always checking the text messages that come through. I get a lot of texts for work for a lot of things that happen during the day. And if you get a lot of emails for work, I think that's the same. I mean, you can't ignore work. That's your business. So, but I think just like recreational. How often do you check your recreational email or work? And then, yeah, Shy Gamer Girl 8 is one of those people I would play all night with. And Hey B Moon, there's some nights we'd stay up all night. And you know what? I'm not going to call him out, but Shy Gamer Girl is still one of those people that stays up all night. It's just one of those things I didn't want to keep doing. I've started changing my brain to getting more sleep so I can spend more time exercising and have more energy during work. Throughout the day, not want to jump off a bridge because those late nights playing games are so fun. I even still sometimes spend late nights watching TikToks. I'm much better at that. Like I said, after about a year, I'm much better than I was. Anyway, I'll keep going. So number 4 was, how often do you lose sleep because of late night logins? I'll probably put myself at a 2, barely applicable. Number 5, how often do you find yourself staying just a few minutes? Oh, sorry. How often do you find yourself saying just a few minutes when online? Never. No, never. I usually am pretty intentional when I am online. And like I said, I don't really, when I get online, I'm playing video games. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to come back to this whole quiz because then he gives a list of you add up you add up your score, and then he gives you a list of how addicted you might be to video games. Hey B Moon says you're pretty good about hopping off after one more game. Okay, that's a good point. After one more game, that's a good way to make it applicable for us or for me. All the gamers know about one more game, one more round, because no one wants to end on a loss or on a humiliating note. And if you know me or play with me, you know that most of my games are pretty bad, pretty humiliating. So I think I kind of gave up on the being the hero for one last time because I don't get that very often. When it's the weekend though, like I said, yesterday I couldn't have one more game. I got on, I played until I was hungry, I made some food, I played until Kayla woke up. I came back, I played until she was done with her homework. I didn't have one more game yesterday. Yesterday was a bad day. Or it was a really good day, if you know what I mean. I hate that shake. Just a day. I had fun with playing with you last night, Braxton. Welcome back. Okay. He gives a. Okay, I'm gonna keep going on my notes. He talks about Flappy Bird, how people got so addicted to Flappy Bird. I made a note. I said I wasn't addicted to Flappy Bird. The point is the way it and other games and apps are designed is to suck all of your attention, throwing unending stimulus at you like TikTok. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that he elaborates is the way that technology is designed, that games and apps are designed is one is to get your attention and then it's to hold it forever. Just like TikTok. They I mean if anyone's ever been on TikTok, you know exactly how encapsulating how drawn you get to staying. I mean it's hard to get on TikTok and watch one video and then to get off of TikTok cuz it's so easy to find another video. Yeah. Everything is designed to pretty much to make us addicted. He says addicts aren't weaker than non-addicts. Most are unlucky. Environment and people and places is huge. Yeah. Addicts aren't weaker than non-addicts. Oh yeah, like your people who are addicted to substances aren't weaker in some aspects than others. It's usually a sense of environment. Yeah. Or the people in your life or the places that you're in. It's an they're unlucky circumstances. Addiction comes from intentionally repeatedly whoops. I made a mistake. Addiction comes from intentionally repeating or using a drug. Oh, maybe I didn't. Addiction comes from intentionally repeatedly using a drug for emotional relief. Addiction comes from intentionally repeatedly using a drug for emotional relief. Yeah. Yeah, think about people that are like mindless scrollers on Instagram like I have been for a long time or Twitter. Oh, there's a huge I if I remember right, there's some kind of well, you get like a release of endorphins when you're scrolling and you see stimulating things, videos that you like, pictures that you like. That's one reason that drugs are so appealing is because they make you feel something. They do something chemically in your brain, or porn or video games is there's a ton of stimulus, but then the connection that people make with those emotions, those feelings through emotional stress, or they seek that feeling from emotional relief, which starts the foundation for addiction. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yes. Okay. Habe Moon with a Harvard University. Okay. Habe Moon says according to an article by Harvard University researcher Trevor Haynes, when you get a social media notification, your brain sends a chemical messenger called dopamine, yes, along a reward pathway which makes you feel good. Dopamine is associated with food, exercise, love, sex, gambling, drugs, social media. Yeah, I wonder why do people like what is it about the notifications though from social media that makes people feel like what is this why is that stimulus great? Maybe my thought is yesterday when I was running I ran with Shy Gamer Girl yesterday and we talked about I talked about part of the reason why I'd like to do podcasts. I like to host these backyard concerts, which I'm doing another concert in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. August 21st, I think. I'll have to look. I like to do all those things for the engagement that I get from my friends and from family and from strangers. I like the feedback. I like to. It seems kind of selfish, but it's a reward. It's all rewarding to do something difficult or to challenge myself or to share something personal and to receive feedback it has a rewarding feeling. So yeah, I guess maybe when you're on social media, if you share a picture and you see people are liking it and people are commenting on it and saying these things, that's probably it's just dopamine from those things. Habemoon quotes probably from the article. The reward centers in our brains are most active when we're talking about ourselves. In real life, people talk about themselves 30 to 40% of the time. That's what Steve said yesterday. Social media is all about showing off your title. Sorry, where did I get that? Social media is all about showing off your life. So people talk about themselves a whopping 80% of the time. When a person posts a picture and gets positive social feedback, it stimulates the brain to release dopamine. I'm a fucking doctor. It's exactly what I just said. I'm just sharing large blocks of text. My bad. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is why I'm getting hits of dopamine from your comments. That's exactly what's happening. It's exactly what's happening. It's an engagement, rewarding stimulus. I love to know that you guys are here. Maybe you're not even listening, but you're certainly engaging right now. And these are awesome things that you're sharing, Brax, and I appreciate it. This is awesome. It's the same thing. Yeah, you sound like a pedo. Who are you, H Langston 50? And why do I sound like a pedo? What did I say? Dude, do I have to stop the episode now because of you? Get out of here. Get out of here with that. Jeez. All right, I'm going to move on. You get the point. Addiction comes from intentionally, repeatedly using a drug for emotional relief, like social media with its notifications, TikTok with its crazy videos that come at you so easily, other behaviors like video games, when you play video games and when you beat your enemies. For people who don't play video games, I'm going to use stupid lingo. But when you kill your enemies or when you score a goal or whatever you're doing, whatever game you're playing, there is a chemical reaction happening. And people get addicted to those feelings, especially when they use they seek that feeling for emotional relief. Bam. Awesome. Okay, going back to one of those questions from the test. He talks about I actually really wanted to read just a small part from the book about this. Yes, because this goes right back to the sleep deprivation. Oh yeah, we're all addicts. This is a really good book. The sleep he just gives a really brief. Okay, listen. Don't call me a pedo, dude. You're so weird. This is the beginning of chapter 3. TNC, maybe? There's a modern-day malady that affects 2/3 of all adults. Its symptoms include heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, appetite suppression, poor weight control, weakened immune functioning, lowered resistance to disease, higher pain sensitivity, slowed reaction times, mood fluctuations, depressed brain functioning, depression, obesity, diabetes, and certain forms of cancer. That malady is chronic sleep deprivation. I'm going to read the symptoms one more time. That affects 2/3 of all adults. Heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, appetite suppression, poor weight control, weakened immune functioning, lowered resistance to disease, higher pain sensitivity, slowed reaction times, mood fluctuations, depressed brain functioning, depression, obesity, diabetes, and certain forms of cancer are all symptoms of chronic sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation is behavioral addiction's partner. Yeah, for things that we just talked about. Staying up all night playing video games, staying up all night watching social media, watching TikTok, scrolling social media, staying up all night watching Netflix, watching TV, whatever it is. It's behavioral addiction. Watching porn all night. Things that all of the anything that is taking you away from doing responsible things. And I think we're all guilty. Most people are guilty of it most of the time anyway. Um, I love to break it down like that because it makes me not want to be a part of have those things in my life. It makes me want to stay off of social media. It really makes me not want to play video games at all. But what are responsible things? Well, that's a really good question. So behavioral addictions keep you from doing responsible things. And just like in substance addictions will prevent you from taking care of yourself and your relationships. Behavioral addictions will do the same thing. So the idea to me, and again, I'm no fucking doctor, but I have this idea where we're all people in this world living together, and for some reason we fight and we kill each other and we bring each other down on social media, but we also do a lot of really good things. We build each other up on social media, and I try to do something like this, a podcast, to promote really good things. And so here are and it goes back to my intentions. I want to lead a really fulfilling life. I want to be the healthiest I can be, the strongest I can be, the smartest I can be, the wisest. I want all of the good traits, because when I am doing really well for myself, it translates to all of the things, all of the people in my life, my job, my relationships, my goals, my hobbies. Everything is improving. When I'm focused on being healthy, when I take care of my body, not only am I feeling healthy, but I'm also producing really good things for everybody else around me. And here's an awesome analogy and I'm only gonna call you Shy Gamer Girl 8 when you come into my chat like that. Do you understand? Yesterday on the race, or not the race, on the run, we ran up to the top of the mountain at Mueller Park. It was beautiful. We sat on top of, was it called Elephant Rock? We talked for about a couple hours, and we talked about taking care of our bodies and the consequences that taking care of our body has. And we painted this analogy. So Shy Gamer Girl 8 has a garden. This is his first like real kick-ass garden. And this year is my second year doing a garden. And here's the comparison we made. Shy Gamer Girl 8 spends a lot of time taking care of the plants that he has planted, and he's out there almost every day, weeding them, watering them, pruning them, transplanting, taking care of his garden. And the consequences of that is producing a really beautiful garden, and will produce vegetables and fruits and herbs and whatever he planted. I, on the other hand, I planted my garden and have been negligent to take care of it. And right now I'm embarrassed to say that I have not taken care of it very well this year. I don't water it as often as I should. I don't weed it as much as I should. My maintenance has been poor. My garden, it really is a sad looking garden. And the point is, if you look at our gardens and compare them to our bodies, when you take care of your body or you take care of your garden, it will produce things for the world. It's not like taking care of your garden will have no impact. It will produce wonderful things. And if you don't take care of it, consequently, it's not going to produce. In fact, it's going to wither and die. There's maybe a chance I could go out and save my garden if I was really diligent, but it would take extra work. It would take extra time and extra sacrifice to make it work. There's no giving up on our bodies. If we're still alive, there's still something we can do to take care of ourselves. The garden is just an example. So I could be complacent about my garden, and which I really am, and again, I'm embarrassed about it, but I could be complacent about my body and say, well, this is just my body, and I can only do so much because I'm tired and I don't know so much. My relationships are okay, whatever. This is just my life. This is just my body. And then you produce low quality fruit, vegetables. You're contributing very little to the things in your life. But if you take the time, discipline yourself to take care of all parts of your body, your brain, your emotions, your physical aspects, if you get enough sleep, I'll talk about this later. I might have to do it in the next podcast next week. But I listened to the podcast about sleep, how important it is to get quality sleep every single night. There's so much that we can do to take care of ourselves, and it takes a lot of effort. It takes discipline. But when we do those things, we produce beautiful results. And not just for ourselves. Our gardens don't just look beautiful, but they produce for everybody else. So if I take care of myself by getting enough sleep, by getting the proper exercise, by maintaining healthy relationships and a balance in all of my activities, not playing too many video games, not spending too much time on social media, but also not spending too much time at the gym, balancing all of those things, balancing everything that I'm doing, I'll find like this nirvana state, whatever, and produce just the best life for myself, but also for those around me. That's my intention for doing this. The more I read these books, the more I go do that hot yoga. I listen to these instructors talk about suffering. There's beauty in the suffering. There's beauty in the discipline. I don't remember if I shared it last week, but there was one of the instructor that I was with said, after 60 minutes or 90 minutes of sweating my balls off and sore and tired, and it's 115 degrees in this room, whatever it is, it's so fucking hot. My entire body is running water, like I'm standing underneath a shower and water is falling off of my body. That's how sweaty I am. It's disgusting. And I'm tired and I'm dizzy and I don't feel well. And you sit there, you do all of these difficult stretches, and you sit there and you're supposed to meditate. Living in the suffering is where you produce the results. She said, we suffer in this room so you don't have to suffer in the world or in life. If you live your life by meeting the bare minimum, you're going to live at a lower level. But if you could challenge your mind, challenge your body, your spirit, challenge everything about yourself, your life will have less suffering. You'll be stronger mentally, physically, emotionally to handle anything that comes at you. But you have to discipline yourself and suffer. To live is to suffer. So we do these hard things. We exercise. We read these books. We go to work. We spend time with our loved ones. We shut off the computer when it's appropriate. Shut off our phones. We get enough sleep. We sacrifice nights out with our friends. All in the sake of our good health. This last weekend we had some friends out of town, in town for another friend's birthday. We were in Salt Lake. We went to Dave & Buster's. It was a really good time. And I feel like a weenie because we go to dinner at 8 and we're hanging out until 10 or 11, and then everybody wants to move over to the bars and the clubs and go have fun, and it's way fun, and you're with your friends, and you don't do this very often. And I have these fucking guys from the books in my head, and they're the mantras of getting enough sleep and not consuming too much alcohol and not staying up too late and getting enough exercise in the morning and getting like waking up with the sun, getting sunlight in your eyes as the sun is rising, and watching the sun set and then not getting any light in your eyes after the sun sets. I mean, I have all of this bullshit going on in my brain while I'm at Dave and Buster's at 10 p.m. I feel like a weenie because my heart wants to go home and wants to go to sleep. That's just it's and then I do, and then I leave early. My friends, everybody goes to the bars, and I go home and I go to bed. I don't know. It takes sacrifice, and I feel like a weenie because of it. I love my friends. I love the quality time the things that we do, spending time with each other. But I have this really probably an unrealistic expectation for myself to meet these standards, to live the best life that I can. Oh, so we just do our best. If you go back to the 4 agreements, all I can do is do my best. All any of us can do is do our best. Does that answer your question, B-Moon? What are responsible things? Just take care of yourself. Learn about how to take care of yourself and then do those things. Read the books. Take classes. Hire trainers. And then follow their advice. That's all I know how to do. I don't know the shit that I don't know about the things that I don't know the studies and all of that. I just know what they're telling me. These really smart people are telling me. Damn, that was a good little tangent. I'm going to go on. All right. That was part 1 about addiction. Part 2, he had I'm here to provide tangents. I appreciate it. I feel good about that tangent. Part 2 answered a question from last week that I had about goals. Remember that book, The Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson? Talked about goals. He talked about exercise, rather. How our ancestors didn't do high intensity exercises. They really mostly did low to moderate intensity exercise all day, with occasional sprinting, occasional lifting, and that's what sets up. That's what our bodies are designed to do. And I thought, well, I want to be stronger than our ancestors. I want to be faster. But then he explains about the negative consequences or the negative side effects of exercising too much and keeping your heart rate too high for too long. Okay, so in part two of the Irresistible kind of talks about what goals were for our ancestors. So I made a note that says goals were a biological imperative rather than a luxury or a choice. Back then, there weren't enough resources for humans to run up mountains just for the fun of it, or to run far distances, or to lift really, really heavy things. Food was scarce, the resources were scarce, and what's the word I'm looking for? Their main goal was to stay alive, not to get eaten by lions and bears and whatever. So they spent most of their time probably relaxing, and then when food was scarce, their bodies leaned the fuck out, but they knew how to conserve their energy. Goals now today are a luxury for us because we have the resources. We're not constantly afraid of bears eating us unless you live in the woods all the time, but we don't have to worry about those external problems. Now today our problem is getting too invested in our goals. So that's what part 2 is. It's about goals and goal setting and the positive and the negative effects of goals. So, yeah, goals were a biological imperative to our ancestors, and today goals are a luxury or a choice. So, he says, I made a note, instead of making goals, live your life by systems. And then he references a book. Something you do regularly increases your chances of happiness in the long run. I'm already 40 minutes in. I don't want to make these too long like I made the other podcasts, the last series. But I'm going to keep going. So, the goals today come in the form of achievements with our appearance or with success, and he kind of explains how that's detrimental to us, and he references wearable tech like Apple Watches or heart monitor straps or whatever, and with the big thing about wearing Fitbits and Apple Watches is counting your steps. Everybody wants to count their steps. 10,000 steps a day, 10,000 steps a day for because that's just what we've decided. We should get 10,000 steps every day. And then we make other goals, like he uses a marathon analogy. People want to run marathons in under 4 hours, and so the curve of marathon runners, it like peaks at 3 hours and 59 minutes to like 4 hours and 5 minutes. So you have your slower runners, 7 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, and then it goes up to like 4.5. And then the peaks, the most runners are coming in around 4 hours. And then the fastest ones are the sub 4 hours is very low as well. So he talks about the consequences of pushing yourself too hard to meet goals, like this guy that was on Rogan a little while ago talked about his fucking foot, that he's just an animal, or even Goggins. But I'm going to talk about this guy who he was training and broke his foot and continued to run and to live on it without taking care of it and resting and whatever. And it calloused. It eventually healed and calloused over his foot. Now he can't move his ankle. But he was like, I'm just hard motherfucker. That's just what I do. And like Goggins was the same way. Cameron Hayes is the same way. They're just tough motherfuckers. But so he says goals come at a cost, because when you want to reach 10,000 steps every day, if you're determined, but you break your ankle, you're going to figure out how to go get 10,000 steps on a broken ankle, and then you're going to fuck your body up even more. Or if you have asthma and then you push through asthma, or if you whatever the circumstances are. Like my calf. Like yesterday we were running that mountain, and about 2 miles in on a 3.5 mile run in was when I felt my calf pull, strain, and we walked for a little while, and then I kept running, and I adjusted my form, and I probably made it worse than it was when I pulled it initially, but that's the idea. My goal was to run up the mountain. I wanted to get up the mountain quick, instead of listening to my body and slowing down and walking or going back to the car from there, instead of going back and then even further down. So the alternative to goal setting, to living our life by goals, is to live your life by systems. And I want to read it. He mentions a book by Scott Adams called How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. That talks about systems. Something you do regularly and increases the chances of happiness in the long run. So instead of having goals to make $1 million a year, and you do X, Y, and Z to make $1 million a year, instead of living your life by those goals and the sacrifices that come with those, live your life by systems that push you to make money. I'm just giving an example. Push yourself to make money that you need, but that doesn't compromise your happiness or your well-being. So like for exercise, I could have ran until I pulled my calf and then had walked down the mountain, and then we could have done something else. We could have just gone back to the car and stretched and talked, or we could have got breakfast or something. You know, just instead of killing yourself to meet goals. I love the principle. I love the principle of living your life by systems, but I feel like that's we talk about goals being a luxury today for humans because of our resources. Um, is it bad to set goals and to make sacrifices like that because we are able to, or is it just like the quality of our life? He gives a few examples of some guys that are goal addicts. There was a guy he referenced from a TV show that was an addict to winning game shows, not TV show. He was an addict to winning game shows, and there was one in particular that he beat the system and made like $100,000 on the show. It was one of those spinning ones. You spin the wheel, and he just figured out the light pattern or something. And instead of being content or being happy with his successes, he continued to try to beat game shows, and then eventually ended up losing all of his money. And so, and anyway, live your life by a set of systems. Oh, your shoulder too, and back. Well, okay. If you're talking about like resting when you hurt yourself. Yeah, when we were lifting, when we started our exercise program in February, I did get some shoulder pain, and I took a couple weeks off. But honestly, the whole time I took that time off, I thought about the gains that I was missing out on. I guess it's not really a healthy way to live. I have another buddy that hurt his back. He was a super strong lifter, and you know who you are because you're in this chat. He hurt his back or his shoulder and hasn't lifted in over a year. But he went the other way, and he just never made it back to the gym. So I wonder what the fine line is. I don't know. Is the whole point is just to be your best self and to be happy, but also to push yourself to succeed? I don't know. Maybe I missed the point, but living your life by systems was the main point of part 2. The healthiest approach to exercising and diet is to enjoy them. Yeah, I guess it's just the bottom line. The healthiest approach to exercising and diet, and I'll say to financial success or to relationship success, is to enjoy them. Lanxas says, no, I definitely suck. Don't be me. I need to go back. I know, but you were like actually incapacitated for a while. You couldn't do anything. You lived almost a sedentary life in pain. Like you shouldn't be in pain. I mean, you shouldn't push. Well, unless you're fucking Goggins, right? Like Goggins ran races with broken shins and broken feet, and set the pull-up world record with broken hands. Not broken hands, but his calluses were cut all the way open and went into some kind of physical state where his muscles, it was like beyond muscle failure, but he continues to just keep doing it. Like, is the point just to, also my mug says coolest dad, but I am not a father. So where's the line? Do you want to push yourself to and kill yourself, or is the point, if you want to live the healthiest, happiest life, is to avoid pushing yourself through pain, or to just to listen to your body and to take healthy approaches to these things? I guess maybe it's just a difference of mindset. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to set world records and sacrifice your own well-being to accomplish these things, or are you trying to live a healthy, fulfilling life for yourself and sacrifice world fame and glory for your well-being? I don't know. That's an interesting thought. Because I certainly love to run up the mountains and lift at the gym, but I'm not doing it to be the strongest person in the gym or to be the fastest one up the mountain. I want to run. I want to push myself up the mountain. I want to push myself in yoga, but I don't want to be the most flexible person in the room. I love to play the guitar, but I'm not trying to be Jimi Hendrix. I'm not trying to be better than Jimi Hendrix. I like to play video games, but I'm not any of the video game players. The only guy that's coming to my head is Ninja, and I didn't want to make a Ninja reference. So yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. The healthiest approach to exercising and diet is to enjoy them. He made a point in part 2 about Instagram. The sting of negative feedback is so sharp, many people take dozens of pictures before posting them. I'll say that one more time. The sting of negative feedback is so sharp, many people take dozens of shots before posting and do things like Photoshop. So, saying earlier about the dopamine effect of social media notifications, yeah, like what Haby Moon said in the chat. That feels really good, but when you put yourself out there by posting something, maybe something that's different from the norm, and then it doesn't get the attraction that you want, in fact, it might get a negative response, the pain is so sharp. So we do things like take dozens of pictures and edit our pictures to meet some kind of standard or expectation for the people we're sharing things with, which is not healthy. Unless you're trying to be something unrealistic. He talks about a girl, I wish I wrote her name down. She was an influencer on social media for a while and then had some kind of awakening and went back. She kept most of her photos. She was just a typical like Instagram model influencer, and then she kept most of her photos and changed her captions and explained what she went through to get this picture or to get this shot. And he gives examples of one of these pictures of her at the beach, and she said that in the caption she said, "Not real. Instagram is not real. I took over 100 pictures, or I took dozens of pictures before this one, and kept trying to suck my tummy in and like find the right angle so that my boobs looked good and stuff like that." So instead of just embracing who you are and how you look in the moment or in real life, it's all fake. None of it's real because of what we're trying to accomplish. We want to receive that kind of attention. We want the dopamine hit. I'm glad that you brought the. Hey, B Moon, thanks for the contribution. We want that kind of thrill, that exhilaration, and people like me who are making content like this want the feedback. I want the feedback, but my goal is to not make this fake or to be fake to get extra attention. I want to be authentic, and that's why I'm okay if I don't have anybody listening to this. I want to share what I have in an authentic way because that's the healthiest thing to do. And then people who actually listen will get to know me actually, and things are much smoother. It's just I love doing it this way more. And I was on the social media doing the filters and taking tons of pictures, not as intense as most people, but I know what that feeling is. And writing tweets and changing tweets and pictures and there's a whole bunch that goes into it. So I'm glad that I'm on this journey. And this is kind of reassuring information for me. The last point of part 2 he makes. Oh, did you share the 18-year-old social media influencer, Asina O'Neill? Is that the girl? Is that the girl I was just referencing? I'm glad that you caught that or found it. Dude, you're coming fucking through. Where were you for the last couple of weeks? Could have used you on a lot of this. You're the best, man. I appreciate it. The last point of part 2 I made, end of chapter 10, extrinsic motivation fails to satisfy. A well-designed environment encourages good habits and healthy behavior. A wrong environment brings excess and at its extremes, behavioral addictions. I wonder if I could find that. Oh, yeah, end of part 2. Ten and 15, 3 hours. Well, yeah, he's talking about Isaac Weisberg, his addiction to video games. The author references World of Warcraft and League of Legends, mostly World of Warcraft, as the most addictive game of all time. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to. Oh, chapter 10 is the beginning of part 3, not the end of part 2. Sorry. The key to understanding how different features of the environment, financial incentives, and physical barriers, for example, shape motivation. A well designed environment encourages good habits and healthy behavior. The wrong environment brings excess and, at its extremes, behavioral addictions. Yeah. Okay. Now yeah. Okay. I'm gonna just keep plowing through. I hope this is all good information. I loved this book. I love thinking about behavioral addictions and tendencies, why we do the things that we do. Yeah, the example of students. Yeah. I'm going to read the extrinsic motivation fails to satisfy. From the study that he shared about people getting paid to do a puzzle versus people doing the puzzle for fun. Extrinsic motivation, like getting paid to do a puzzle, fails to satisfy. The people that were doing the puzzle for fun had more satisfaction than people getting paid to do it. A well-designed environment, like a job or business that you work in, or a gym that you go to, or whatever, encourages good habits and healthy behavior. A wrong environment brings excess, and at its extremes, behavioral addiction. Okay, that's the beginning of part 3. To wrap this up, he explains environment and what we could do about addictions, behavioral addictions if you have them. I made a few notes, and I've shared most of my thoughts already. He shared a study about porn addicts in conservative states versus liberal states. Conservative states in the United States have a much higher rate of porn viewing and addiction than liberal states. And part of the reason they think is because conservative states have like if you're in Utah, you understand. Great work, you beautiful SOB. Hey, thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out, H Langston 50. But don't call me pedo ever again, or I'm gonna ban you in the chat. The point the difference, if you live in Utah, you know Mormon culture and the kind of shaming that comes from sex before marriage or masturbating or porn viewing or any of those things, especially if you're in the church, if you're or religious at all. They think that part of the I should have wrote more notes down about the studies if I'm going to talk about it, but the negative drive or the push to not do it is what incentivizes more youth to do shit like that. So, methods to break behavioral addictions. He listed ineffective methods like abstinence and willpower. Were far more ineffective to breaking behavioral addictions rather than effective methods like distractions, replacement behaviors, or gamification. And he talks about gamification a ton. Habe Moon says Utah ranks number 1 in subscriptions, according to Benjamin Edelman, who reported his findings in the article Red Light States: Who Buys Online Adult Entertainment? Yeah, porn subscriptions, yeah. Utah ranks number 1. Wow. Study from 2009. I think, that's beside the point. I wonder how that's changed in the last 11 years, or what's the 12 years? Um, yeah, yeah. So ineffective methods to break behavioral addictions include abstinence and willpower, and religions will say don't have sex, don't watch porn, stay abstinent. That's and especially if you're already engaging in sex or porn, and you could say anything else like drugs or not, maybe not drugs, but uh, social media addiction or TV addiction or video game addiction. Abstinence and willpower are ineffective, but effective methods are distractions, replacement behaviors, and gamification and other activities. And if you don't know what gamification is, basically it's taking a behavior and turning it into a game, which is why video games are so effective primarily. So gamificate that there was I don't want to talk about gamification for too long, but there's examples of how to get a study from somewhere in Europe, how to get more employees to take the stairs instead of an escalator to get to work, and they turned the steps on the stairs into piano tiles. So every time you stepped on the stairs, it would make noises, and then they wanted to get people to recycle more, so they gave you points every time you correctly recycled something instead of just throwing it away. A person or a company would get points awarded to them, and it just statistically statistically significant results to making these kind of things improve or making your behavior change. That's called gamification. So if you have a video game, or if you have a social media addiction, or if you just want to do it less, maybe you're not addicted, but you want to spend less time playing video games, or less time watching porn, or less time scrolling social media. I'll say it one more time because I think it's really important. Effective methods to breaking those habits or those addictions is distractions, replacement behaviors, or gamification and other behaviors. And I made one note about an attitude. If you want to be, this applies to me. I'll direct this. Probably why I made the note. Let me take a sip of my coffee first. I want to be someone who gets enough sleep. I also say I want to be the 6-hour sleep guy, because I've always slept for 8+ hours a day, or felt like I needed that to be functioning. I want to be able to function off and be healthy at 6 hours. But the attitude to doing that is not saying I don't. Okay, hold on. Maybe I'm phrasing this wrong. The note I made was, I don't is more effective than I can't. Okay, here's an example. Your friends want to play video games with you. It's 10 o'clock at night. You know you need to get to bed, and your friends text you and say, come play with us. Just get a few games in, whatever. So you say, instead of saying, I can't, I'm supposed to go to bed, you are more empowered by saying something like, I don't play video games after 10, or I don't play video games this late. Or if your friends want to stay up all night drinking, then instead of saying, I can't, I got to do this in the morning, you say, I don't stay up this late drinking, or I don't drink this much. Changing a simple phrase, changing your attitude from something like, I can't, to I don't. There was another study that showed the statistical significance of changing that behavior, that mindset. Changing from I can't to I don't is far more powerful. So take all of this into consideration. You are in control of your life, and there are things beyond your control that are influencing you every single day. But there are things every day that you are in control of. It's really up to us. It's up to you. It's up to me to take care of what's in our control. If you can get to bed getting to bed at 10 o'clock at night is almost always in our control. If you have kids, or if you work a night shift, there's things that are out of your control. But if you are like me, you're a dude that works a job and doesn't really have much else going on, you can get to bed on time. And changing your attitude from I can't play video games to I don't play video games because I go to bed, I wake up early, I go to the gym, I take care of my body. If you feel like you can't get to the gym, you are in control of taking care of yourself that way too. We've already talked about all of this. The point of this is all of these feelings, these addictions, these behaviors that you have that are undesirable are almost always in your control to change or to break. If you don't like the time you spend on social media, find healthy habits, replacement behaviors, distractions to keep you from spending all your time on social media. And truthfully, exercise has been a huge distraction from social media for me. And this podcast and reading these books has been a huge distraction for me from playing video games late at night. I've replaced those behaviors, which aren't terrible, but I just can't. I have a hard time controlling them. I have a hard time controlling my video game addiction and my social media addiction. So when I replace those behaviors with things that are better for me, like spending quality time with my girlfriend and with my friends, and doing this podcast and exercising and running in the evening times, or going to yoga, doing more things that are beneficial for me, then I am replacing those hard addictions that I certainly have. Certainly am addicted to video games. So replace undesired behaviors with better behaviors. Become distracted with good things. If you want to talk about food and you feel like you just can't eat well, you don't have a good diet, it's hard to make. It takes time, it takes dedication and discipline to cook good meals instead of going to McDonald's every day. It takes discipline to do that. It's not easy to do that. But being distracted by spending time at the grocery store, researching meals and recipes, and then getting those ingredients, spending the time to make something, it takes time. But it is an effective distraction from DoorDashing, Wendy's, and binging Netflix. If you don't want to DoorDash and Netflix all of your days, like I certainly have and still do sometimes, replace those behaviors with good behaviors. I'm going to leave it on that. I had so much more that I want to talk about with the sleep podcast. I'll save that for next week because I'm an hour in and I got to go clean some carpet. And this is a really good episode this is a really good place to stop. So I'm going to leave that information with you to digest and consider for the future. Take control of the things that are in your control, and you'll be a happier person. And it's going to be fucking hard. That's why these people say, do hard shit. That's why I keep saying, do hard shit. Go do something hard. It's hard to go to the grocery store and get healthy ingredients for a good dinner. It's hard to not play video games and to go to the gym. That's fucking hard for me. And it makes me sad when my friends are playing video games and I see their texts coming through about getting on and playing and what they're playing. And instead I'm editing something for the podcast, or I'm doing something else, or I'm working, or I'm outside. Sometimes I used to be in my garden or doing yard work, but I really am doing less of that now, unfortunately. Yeah, the garden is an excellent replacement behavior. Go start a garden, get a flower bed, and take care of something else. If you have a pet, go on a walk with your pet. Your fucking pet needs that. Go give it the exercise and the attention that it deserves. Your kids, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever it is. Replace those undesired behaviors with healthier behaviors. It's hard, but do it. Do the hard shit, and you won't be disappointed. Thanks for showing up today for 1 hour and like 9 minutes. And did I freeze? Yeah, I think I froze. Hello? Oh, shit. Well, I don't know what